Hey guys, welcome back. So, Star Wars. Me and my wife went and saw The Rise of Skywalker 3 nights ago on the 20th, Friday night, 6:45 p.m. session at VMAX at Event Cinemas in Miranda, and it was a sellout crowd. The place was full. It was chock-a-block. So I'm not going to give any spoilers in this part of the review. I will jump into spoilers at some point, but I'll give you plenty of warning. I'm initially just going to give my thoughts and feelings about how I felt in the movie, what I thought of it. Yeah, The Rise of Skywalker. Star Wars is done. We've got no more Star Wars movies coming in the near future, unless they decide to do something with the Old Republic in a few years and give us some new movies. But presently, the saga has concluded, and yeah, I am happy with the film. It didn't suck. I did get a lot of Twitter impressions and like mini reviews. It was just people's general thoughts when they came out of the movie, and there was a lot of those on Twitter, and I was pretty divisive right away. Some people either loved it, a lot hated it. So I went in really kind of expecting it to be crappy. So I was happily proven wrong. I found myself enjoying the film from start to finish. Now, it definitely has its problems. Like, it's not a perfect film by any means, but I found myself enjoying it a lot more than I did with Rian Johnson's The Last Jedi, which had massive problems, but I didn't hate that one either as much as everyone else did. It has its fans. Once again, some really weird choices were made in that one. So it felt like J.J. Abrams with The Rise of Skywalker had to kind of come back in and retrofit everything, and there was a lot of fan service in this one, definitely, but there was none of that subverting expectations for the sake of it, which I think Rian Johnson did. He did something different. He wanted to be bold and make a different Star Wars, but overall I did enjoy that film. So for me right now in the new trilogy, The Force Awakens is still my favorite because it hit all my nostalgia buttons, and I really love just returning to that world. It was just a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it. So like I said, going into this one I was really trepidatious, and I was just waiting for that moment to hit me where I was like, oh, this is terrible. But that moment never came. It was fun, it was engaging, had great action scenes. I thought the cast were amazing together. There was great chemistry, and it was really wonderful for them to be all together through the entire film. They weren't split up in any way. They weren't off doing other missions. They were together, the core group from that first film. And that was a really wise decision to do so. With the old characters in the new film, it really breaks my heart that Mark Hamill, Harrison Ford, and Carrie Fisher never had any scenes together like the original core trio. So not having them together was just a lost opportunity. Carrie Fisher passing really kind of threw a massive spanner into the works for this one. They did have a lot of plans for her. Apparently she was going to pick up the lightsaber at one point and have a pretty badass moment as a Jedi. But because she died, they had to kind of retrofit things and get her footage that she shot for The Force Awakens and put into this one. Now, that did honestly take me out a little bit. Every time we had Princess Leia on screen, you kind of knew that the stuff she was saying, her lines, were out of context for this film. And what they did is they took her image from that Force Awakens footage and inserted it in this one with different backgrounds, interacting with characters whom she'd never met in real life at all. That was a little bit disconcerting for me. So every time I saw Princess Leia, I was taken out of the film, which was sad because I was really happy to see her here. Star Wars needs Carrie Fisher when we want our Princess Leia, but it did kind of take me out of the film. That being said, though, for the most part, I really did enjoy it. Like I said, this is a cheese fest. We're not going to get any Oscars for dialogue or story development or anything like that. It's just a big hokey Star Wars space cheese opera. That's a sentence. I had a lot of fun with it. It was adventure on a grand scale, and it rounded out the trilogy nicely. Well, the whole saga. I thought it was enjoyable. And yeah, the hate it was receiving from a lot of fans, I just don't get it. Like I said, I was just waiting for that moment for when I was going to turn against the film, and it just never happened. Yeah, it wasn't great. I mean, it was the final film in the Star Wars saga. It should have been spectacular, and visually it is, but it wasn't quite the grand home run I was expecting or wanted or needed. It did fall a little flat in some areas. I mean, those heights they were reaching for, they didn't quite get there. But overall, it was a fun film. So, if you want to go see it, definitely go check it out. It looks great on the big screen, and it's Star Wars. John Williams scored this one, the theme, as soon as that music kicks in. It's wonderful. You know exactly where you are. Rey's journey, Poe, Finn, BB-8, C-3PO, R2-D2, Chewbacca, Lando Calrissian. That's no spoiler. He's in the trailer. Everyone had a lot of fun, and you could tell. And it was really sad that this is their final outing. But yeah, I enjoyed the film, so it doesn't suck, and I'm looking forward to seeing it again. There's been talk of re-releasing the entire saga on a 4K Blu-ray box set. I own every iteration of Star Wars there is on Blu-ray and DVD and Laserdisc and VHS, so more than likely I will buy the new box set as well down the track, because it's Star Wars and it's what I do. Now, just going into spoilers a little bit. So I don't want to get too crazy with the spoilers. It's been a long day. I've just got back from a long trip up the coast to visit my mother, and I did want to take a couple days to process this film because there's a lot to unpack. It was long and there was so much happening. And today's my first day off to kind of sit down in front of the camera and get my thoughts out. But being Christmas, it's Christmas Eve tomorrow. I had to go see my mum today because I'm just not going to get the opportunity over Christmas. So we're on the road for a good portion of today, and I'm worn out. So talking spoilers. So okay. So Rey, the biggest thing that I think that everyone's kind of angry with this film is the fact that Rey got revealed to be a Palpatine. She's Emperor Palpatine's granddaughter, and a lot of people weren't happy with that decision. I mean, there were theories a lot of fan theories floating around the internet before this film came out, determining who Rey's heritage was. I mean, yeah, sure, in Rian Johnson's The Last Jedi, we did kind of find out that Rey's parents were nobody at all. They were insignificant. So Kylo Ren kind of dropped that nugget on us, and nobody was really happy because we wanted Rey to be Skywalker or Kenobi or someone. So J.J. Abrams kind of fixed that right away with the very opening sentence when Kylo Ren meets the Emperor at the beginning of the film. Kill her, she's not who you think she is. So straight away we got that sentence that Rey is important after all. And for her to be the granddaughter of the most evil person in the universe is quite the contrast, because she's one of the most pure good characters in the whole series. So for her to be the granddaughter of somebody so evil, yeah, you're going to get that contrast, that black and white. So when she did face off against Palpatine at the end, yeah, he lived. I think he's meant to be a clone in this one. He was pretty much embodying all of the Sith, and Rey was channeling all of the Jedi. So there was a final confrontation, and then the Sith all got wiped out by the end. So interesting. No more Sith. So that's basically the end of the saga, right? Because the Sith are gone, it's just Jedi, which kind of like makes you think about the Force. Like, there's always got to be balance. So I don't know. Go on. And of course, we also had Kylo Ren's journey. So this was the one that redeemed him. So the Rise of Skywalker pretty much would be the redemption of Kylo Ren, Ben Solo, being turned back to the light side of the Force by his mother, in the final appearance by Carrie Fisher as Princess Leia in the film. We don't actually see her face at this point because this scene was filmed for the new movie. As we know, Carrie Fisher wasn't around to do that, so we didn't see Princess Leia's face at this point, but she basically sent out her essence, her Force essence, to Kylo Ren right when he's getting stabbed through the guts by Rey. She contacted him, which distracted him enough to give Rey the upper hand because she was losing the fight at that point. But when Leia reached out to him, he got distracted. Rey pierced him with her lightsaber. Well, with his lightsaber. That's what kind of started turning him. Like that spark of good from Leia kind of started extinguishing that dark side that was Kylo Ren. And then, of course, the big trope of the Force heal, which is the new thing, set up nicely in episode 7 of The Mandalorian, which they recommended you watch before the new film. Little baby Yoda was doing that. Spoiler alert for The Mandalorian. Force heal is a thing now. So Rey used that ability to heal Kylo Ren, which in turn would have maybe given some of her goodness into him as well. And then, of course, the surprise cameo from Harrison Ford. Han Solo turned up and they had another father-son moment, rehashing that scene they have from The Force Awakens, like verbatim, word for word. So it was an interesting take to see that scene play out. This time, not with Kylo Ren killing his father to become part of the dark side, but to in turn throw his lightsaber away and turn to the light side of the Force. So interesting. I thought it was good. And then his redemption at the end when Rey dies in the battle against Emperor Palpatine. And then Kylo Ren, Ben, uses his Force healing to revive her, bring her back to life, thus sacrificing himself for the betterment of everyone in the universe, and then dies in Rey's arms, and then vanishes like into Force Ghost territory. Right? Am I right? So my question's like, that's the basic plot, and that's the the few key moments that I enjoyed in the film. Like I said, not done expertly. That scene between Kylo Ren and Han Solo did feel a little bit flat. A lot of people did find it very emotional, but it didn't kind of hit me in the feels like I thought it would. But I was quite surprised to see Harrison Ford turn up. That was a nice surprise. So if I'd waited to see this film any later, then that would have been spoiled, like I'm sure it has been if other people are just getting there now. I'm sure spoilers are hitting pretty hard. But my biggest question is, how the hell is Palpatine alive? So I did talk to one of the girls at work about it, and she thinks that he was indeed a clone. We did see some scenes of Snoke clones in some glass cylinders at the beginning when Kylo Ren was going in there to face off against the Emperor for the first time, and he dropped the line, "I created Snoke," and it looked like there was a couple clones in a canister. So yeah, he created Snoke. Yeah, the movie was fun and could have been shorter. Yeah, like they could have cut a lot of scenes out of this and made it more coherent and just have a quicker runtime. But overall, I found myself thoroughly engaged. It didn't seem like a 2-hour plus movie to me, well, nearly 3 hours long. It went pretty quick. It was fantastic seeing Lando Calrissian again. For me, the biggest moment of goose pimply action for me was when the Resistance, well, everyone who was a decent person in the universe has turned up to take on this Sith armada. It wasn't the Navy, it was just people who've turned up to fight for good. And there was a moment when everyone on the Resistance is losing. The Sith are kicking ass. Poe's having his moment where he's just apologizing to everybody and like, "I'm so sorry, I thought we had a chance, we're losing." And then suddenly Lando Calrissian's voice comes over the mic and, "You're not alone." And then so many ships turn up and the Star Wars theme kicks in, and yeah, that was the moment for me in this film. I got my goose pimples. It's the music. It really does get me every time. And when that Star Wars theme kicks in and you know you're watching a Star Wars movie, God bless you, John Williams, that was awesome. So the space battles at the end, great. Not as epic as I thought it was going to be. Like, the ending does fall a little bit flat. But yeah, I really did enjoy the film, and a lot of people loved it. Some people, this is their first Star Wars, now they're backtracking and watch the other ones. But for the new trilogy, yeah, it wasn't perfect, but what film is? And I think that they really catered to the fans with this one. It was a great send-off, and the saga is now concluded, and Star Wars is done. And I've been a Star Wars fan since I was a kid. I'm 48 years old. Star Wars has been part of my life for 42 years. So to have it end, I thought it was done nicely. Could it have been better? Yeah, but overall, I'm quite happy with what they did, and I'm really looking forward to checking it out again when it gets released on 4K, Blu-ray, that big box set. That's probably going to be up on my shelf in a few months. Why not? It's Star Wars, I love it. Anyway, guys, what do you think of Star Wars? I know it's very divisive. A lot of people love it or hate it, but overall, being a Star Wars fan, yeah, I loved it. I thought it was really good. I had a great time. Anyway, guys, I'll catch you in the next one. Thanks for watching.